Yeah, so welcome back, guys, to my YouTube channel. And today I'm going to be showing you something else in Archicad. So I'm going to be showing you how you can actually have two colors on the same wall. So for example, you can see my wall here is just one uniform color. And maybe I want to play around with the color and maybe form something like a pattern on my wall. I can do that in Archicad. But if you do it in the normal way, whereby you assign your paint to the wall, it will most certainly cover the whole wall with a one uniform color. So I'm going to be showing you how you can alternate the colors in your wall so that you can create a design according to your own desire. So I'm going to be using the morph tool, and I'm going to be using it in the elevation area where I'm going to now draw my pattern for my wall, and then I'm going to assign different colors for my wall. So I'm going to go back to my ground floor like this, and then I'm going to open up an elevation on the wall that has one uniform color, and then I'm just going to now draw out my pattern and then assign the different colors to each part. So I'm going to take up an elevation. Just going to go to my documents, my viewpoints, my elevation tool. Then I'm just going to draw one that is going to look at this wall that has one uniform color. So I'm going to draw it like that. Then I'm going to going inside now and open up the elevation with the current view settings. So it's going to open up my elevation, and then I'm just going to now draw up the pattern of my wall. So let us wait for it to open. Yeah, so after generating my elevation, this is what I have. And I'm going to be using the line tool to draw out my design of my wall first. And then I'm just going to assign each area with the right colors that I am aiming at achieving. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to now first draw the first pattern. And I'm just going to make sure maybe it's at 500 in terms of the width. Then I'm just going to enter, and then I'm going to have that for my first pattern. So I'm going to check another place here again, and I'm going to do the same thing. Just now use any first backspace and make sure I am at the exact edge, and then I'm just going to open it up like that. And then I'm just going to tab and make sure the width is at 500. I'm going to enter, and I'm going to have that type of thing on my wall. So what I want to do is I'm going to create something like a color again, another color here on the down part like that. Maybe I'm going to just create another one at the center of my wall like this. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make sure the width is at 500. I'm going to enter, and I'm going to have something like this. So I can either just make a string course here. String course is just a line that shows the separation of a wall. Maybe if it has a lot of flaws, but I'm just going to use it in this example. So I'm going to make sure this one is at 200 for the width. You have to enter. And then I'm going to have something like this. So I'm going to now just control and cut up these points that are intersecting like this. I'm going to zoom again. I'm going to just cut up these areas that are intersecting. I'm going to make sure there is no intersection there. So let me Control Z for that. Maybe I can just cut up these. Let me escape. And I can cut up that point and maybe this point and this extension there. Let me zoom out to cut up this small extension like this. So you can see I have like a pattern on my wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my morph tool to now draw out my different wall colors on this wall. So I'm going to come this other side like this, shift control, and then I'm just going to cut that point. The reason you can want to use different colors in the same wall is just to remove the monotony of having a plain a wall that is larger and plain and just one color. It's not actually very creative, so I'm just going to now show you how you can add different colors. So I'm going to now go into my morph tool. Then I'm just going to use this option, the first option here, or I can either use this one or this one, depending on what you want. But I want to use this one so that I can have a different thickness for the different color. So I'm going to use this one, and then I'm just going to draw it on where my line tool is, like that. Then I'm going to make sure the extrusion is at maybe 3 centimeters or something like that. So I'm going to press OK, and it's going to put them off on the wall like that. So that's the first option. You can see it's going to put it like that. And then I can now do the same for these others, like these, the same extrusion. I'm going to make sure I press OK like that. And I'm going to now finish it off with the other ones, the same idea. So I'm going to come here and do it on the last one like that. Let me come and make sure it goes up to the down, the lower side there. And then I'm just going to now do the rest. And I'm just going to assign the colors to these different sections of the wall. Just as simple as that. So let me do it for the rest like this. Yeah, like that. I'm going to press OK. Then I'm just going to do it for this area here. And press OK. Then the last area is this one. Then I'm going to just press OK. So come here, finish it off like that, press OK. So you can see now you have different colors on the same wall. So I'm just going to make sure the paint is this turquoise yellow, because this is actually the paint for these corners here and the upper part of the wall. So I'm just going to make sure they are the same. So I'm going to now take my line tool. I'm going to Control A for my lines, and then I'm going to delete my lines. And then I'm just going to go to the 3D and see what I've just done, if it actually makes more sense in the 3D. So let's just wait for it to generate, and then I'm going to show you. Yeah, so in the 3D, you can see that I generated the different colors, but they were, because I drew them in the elevation, they are not going to be directly onto my wall. So I'm just going to drag them back to my wall like that. So I'm just going to go. Yeah, let me see if they group themselves. The problem is maybe they did not group themselves the way I want them to do. So let me just first do this. I can either open the elevation on the front, but that is going to be a lot of work. So I'm going to come and select each and every one of them like this, just to make it simple. Then I'm just going to drag them, Control D, and use this one as a reference. And then I'm just going to drag it up into while following the x-axis up to where the wall is, like that. And then it's going to go onto my wall. So if I press another place and then I orbit, you can see it now enters onto my wall. So if I enter like this, and let me first zoom out, and if I see from this other section, you can see there are some sections on the wall. So they form part of the wall. So this is how you can now create different colors on the wall, because mostly this pattern you can see them in most high-rise buildings, because this is where they use to show maybe where the columns are running or things like that. So that's how you can make different colors on your wall, and you can either, or I can just make sure, you can see this top part here is not actually the same thickness, so I can just fix that by going to the elevation again and drawing another morph there that is the same extrusion as the rest. So I'm going to open up the elevation. Then we're going to do the same thing again. So I'm going to now do the same thing again. I'm going to come to my morph. Then I'm just going to now highlight this point where I want the thickness to be the same as the other colors. So I'm going to come here and draw it up to the end point there. Let me cancel because it has come out badly. So let me open up again. And then I can now draw it in the right direction. Let me zoom out so that it can be easier. And then I can finish it off on this other area like this. So I'm going to press OK, and it's going to put them off again onto my wall. So we can just wait for it to put. Yeah, so when I go to my 3D now, I can now drag the same one and drag it inside. So I'm just going to select it like this, and then let me select it again, and then I can Control D. Or I can just drag it manually like this up to, while following the x-axis up to that point. So that's how it's going to be. And then just wait for it to update in the 3D. So that's how you can form different colors on the same wall. It's just by using the morph tool to draw out your different design of your colors that you want to achieve on your wall. And then you just use the extrusion option to maybe assign different thickness of those colors on the wall, and then you can now achieve something like this on your wall. It's just a simple thing, but you can use it in your design to achieve many things. You can use it to achieve maybe a pattern on the walls or in the interior maybe. So that's how you can now assign different colors onto the same wall, and not only different colors, you can also assign different thickness onto the surface finish of your wall. So yeah, just by using the Morph tool and drawing out your different patterns. So thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe into my channel so that you can continue having these small tips in Archicad, in design tips, and BIM information. So make sure you subscribe, and if you already subscribed, you can just like the video if it has shown if I have taught you something new that you didn't know in Archicad. So thanks for watching.